Welcome to the Yamaha Garage. Thanks for joining us today for some useful service information and technical tips on maintaining your Yamaha TT-R125 trail bike. Today's video is going to cover a frequent and important maintenance task: how to properly check, clean, service, or replace your TT-R's air filter. And for you parents, this service is a great opportunity to get younger riders involved in learning how to properly maintain and care for their motorcycle. Keeping your TT-R's air filter clean and serviced is critical in maintaining its engine's performance and longevity. We're going to show you how to do this easy service, but keep in mind that it's not the only critical maintenance task to keep an eye on. To ensure your TT-R keeps running strong and maintains that legendary Yamaha reliability, make sure to keep up with the full maintenance schedule. You can find the handy checklist in your owner's manual, Chapter 7, pages 7-2 through 7-5. Before we get to our air filter service, let's begin with a couple of quick TT-R tech tips. First off, after every ride, it's very important to turn the fuel petcock lever to off. Most of today's ethanol fuels only have a shelf life of approximately 90 days and can even start to degrade and lose potency after only 7 days. So if you're not sure when you're going to ride again and you think the bike may sit for a while, turn the fuel petcock off while keeping the bike idling outside in a well-ventilated area until it runs out of gas and shuts off on its own before turning the ignition off. This will drain fuel from the carburetor and help protect it from clogging and corrosion resulting from aged ethanol fuel. Just remember to turn the petcock back to the on position the next time you go to start it. Give it a few quick turns of the starter to get fuel back in the carb bowl, and when starting back up, be sure never to crank the engine more than 10 seconds at a time. If it doesn't start within 10 seconds, stop and check the fueling and choke position before trying again. We also recommend that you treat your fuel with Yamaha Fuel Med RX. We've extensively tested Fuel Med, and when used regularly, it can keep fuel fresh for up to a year and also keep your fuel system free of corrosion or performance-robbing buildup. Finally, if you can't get out and ride your TT-R regularly and it's going to sit for 30 days or more, we recommend tending to the battery with an appropriate battery maintainer. We use the NOCO Genius in our shop to keep our variety of batteries charged and ready. You can buy a NOCO and Fuel Med RX at your Yamaha dealer. For more details on these tech tips, see our video on care and storage. Now back to that air filter. When we look at the owner's manual, we see that Yamaha specifies the air filter be cleaned or replaced if necessary every 6 months. But let's note that this recommendation is based on average use in average conditions. The manual also stipulates that you should inspect and clean your air filter much more often if you're riding in particularly dusty, wet, or muddy conditions. As a side note, Yamaha also recommends checking the engine oil level before every ride, so be sure to check out the Yamaha how-to videos on checking and changing your engine oil as well. So why is inspecting and servicing your air filter such an important maintenance task? Your engine needs the correct mixture of air and fuel to run properly, and the air filter is the entryway for the air. It's through the air filter that your engine breathes in the fresh oxygen it needs to make power. A dirty air filter will block some of this vital airflow, reducing engine power. Even worse, a severely neglected air filter will not only have your engine running poorly, but risks allowing dirt or debris to pass into your engine, which can cause premature wear or damage to pistons, rings, cylinders, and valves. So now that we've taken care of the when and why, let's get on with the how. Expect an air filter inspection, service, or change on your TT-R to take just a little over 30 minutes to complete, with a Yamaha difficulty rating of 1 wrench or easy to do. Let's keep moving. Before conducting any type of maintenance, we always want to be sure to start with a clean machine because we definitely don't want to introduce any outside dirt or debris into the internal parts of your engine. Let's keep the dirt on the outside. Luckily, that brings us to our next tech tip. Yamaha has you covered when it comes to clean with a full range of Yamalube quality care products. The most effective way to safely remove dirt and grime is with YamaClean Pro Wash Spray. It's safe for the surfaces of your TT-R, rinses clean, and it's biodegradable. What about stubborn oil, grease, and other muck that's hard to wash off the metal parts? Yamaha has you covered here as well with our Yamalube External Engine Cleaner. It's great at cutting through hard-to-remove grease. Finally, Do you want to make the cleanup even easier next time? After every wash, apply Yamalube Yamacoat plastic coating to body plastics and the underside of the fenders. It helps inhibit adhesion so mud and dirt rinse right off the next time you wash. All clean? Great. Now let's make sure we have everything we need to successfully complete this regular air filter service. For our air filter inspection and cleaning, we'll need a small pan or bucket for cleaning the foam filter element, a large resealable plastic bag for oiling the filter, nitrile gloves, eye protection, clean shop towel, hook and loop strap, magnetic tray, foam filter cleaner, Yamalube foam air filter oil, and your owner's manual to assist guiding you on pages 7-11 and 7-12. Before you start, it's always important to make sure your bike is securely parked on a level surface with wheels chalked or transmission put in gear to reduce the chance of it rolling. We like to just squeeze the front brake lever and use a hook and loop strap to secure the brake on. With the bike safe and secure, move to the right side panel, or the throttle side, and locate the quick release fastener along the front bottom edge. Fold out the fastener's D-ring, grasp it between your fingers, and give it a quarter turn to the left or counterclockwise to release the right side panel's only bolt. The panel is also held in place by two tab and grommet fitments, one along the bottom edge at the back of the panel and the other up at the very top front of the panel. These side panel tab and grommet fittings can be quite tight and require some care to remove. The proper procedure is to reach behind the panel, locate and take the mounting boss between your fingers, and pull straight out from the boss. Removing the panels from these two grommets can take quite a firm pull, especially when the bike is new, so following this procedure will ensure you don't damage the panel while removing it. With the panel removed, locate the wide rubber band on the outside of the air filter case cover. There's a rubber pull tab attached to it. Pull downward on the tab and stretch it under the airbox with your right hand and release the metal ring at the bottom end of the band from the lower attachment point with your left hand. Remove the air filter case cover by pulling it off from the front edge. Pull the foam air filter assembly out of the airbox by sliding it out from the guide mount at the front of the airbox. We like to keep all our removed bolts in a magnetic tray so they don't get lost or kicked around our workspace, and we always know exactly where to find them when it's time to reinstall. Take the filter assembly to your bench and disassemble it. Remove the wing nut and washer that are securing the foam element to the guide mount. Carefully remove the foam element from the cage it covers and inspect it. Be especially careful with the edges of the element that fold over the cage. These folded edges are the most likely area for an unintended tear. If the filter is torn or excessively worn, replace it with a fresh Yamaha genuine air filter. You definitely don't want to risk reusing a worn filter or one with a small tear or hole, because as we've mentioned, allowing dirt or dirty air to get past the filter and into your engine can potentially result in expensive engine damage. It's also important to remember that if you're replacing the foam element with a new one, the new filter still needs to be oiled. We'll be covering that procedure in a moment. Now on to cleaning and servicing the foam filter. In choosing a cleaner for your dirt bike's foam air filter, we recommend only using a solution that is purposely formulated for off-road foam filter elements. Using anything else could damage the foam, be ineffective, or could cause dangerous fumes or other risks. With that said, pour your chosen foam filter cleaner into a small pot, bowl, or bucket. Time to put on your nitrile gloves and wear them throughout this process to protect your skin from harmful chemicals. With gloves safely on, repeatedly soak and squeeze the filter in the cleaning solution. During this whole process, whether cleaning, drying, or oiling, never wring the foam element by twisting it, as it can easily tear the foam filter. Just remember, squeeze it, don't twist it. You'll know all the dirt is removed and the filter is clean when the bright color of the filter is uniformly returned. When sufficiently clean, firmly squeeze the foam element to remove as much excess solvent as you can. Now we'll rinse the filter in warm water to remove any residual solvent that could interfere with the application of the new clean filter oil we'll be applying once the filter is dried. Let the cleaned and rinsed filter air dry. Do not apply heat to speed up the drying process, although allowing it to dry in the warm sun is fine. This drying time is another great opportunity to inspect the filter for rips or holes. Of course, replace the filter if there is any damage or excessive wear. Again, it's not worth risking your engine breathing unfiltered air through a rip or tear. Now with the foam element in good shape, clean and dry, it is time to apply our air filter oil. We do this to make it sticky so it adheres to the dirt, dust, pollen, and other particulates in the air so your engine can breathe more efficiently. Choosing and applying a high-quality foam air filter oil is a critical step in preparing your TT-R's foam air filter for that next ride. That's why we only use Yamaha foam air filter oil, because we know its synthetic formula is extensively tested and specifically designed for Yamaha's off-road motorcycles. It's the easy choice. As a side note, be aware that filter oil can be an eye and skin irritant, and of course, harmful or fatal if swallowed. So be extra cautious if you have young riders helping out. Now the application. There are several ways to successfully apply your Yamaha filter oil to your TT-R's foam filter. You can hold the filter over a pan or bucket and pour the oil directly on the filter. You can pour the oil directly in your container and submerge the filter. Or because the TT-R125's filter is small enough, you can place the filter in a large sealable plastic bag, pour in the oil, and manipulate and squeeze the filter through the bag until saturated. That's the process we'll demonstrate here. Simply pour some oil in the bag. Insert the foam filter and seal the bag. Squeeze and manipulate the bag until the oil fully covers and penetrates the foam filter. Add additional oil if needed. Once fully saturated, hold the filter at the top of the bag and thoroughly squeeze out any excess oil into the bottom of the bag and remove the filter. If you are oiling a clean, new filter, you can pour any remaining oil after saturating the filter bag back into the bottle for reuse. Whichever way you add oil, in the end, you want the element to be wet but not dripping, even when you firmly press on it. Note that we do not recommend the use of aerosol spray oil, as it makes it difficult to ensure full penetration. We only recommend Yamaha foam air filter oil in a bottle. The next step is to inspect and clean the filter cage and mounting guide before carefully remounting your freshly oiled filter. Note that both the foam filter and the cage have an unequal trapezoidal shape that you need to match up. They are asymmetrical and need to be put together with attention. When lined up, insert the cage into the foam filter and carefully pull the lips of the foam filter over the edges of the plastic cage. Then correctly position the filter/cage assembly onto the guide plate by sliding it onto the mounting bolt. Check along the whole perimeter of the element, making sure it is entirely sealed against the flat guide plate. Again, you don't want any gaps that can allow dirty air to pass without getting filtered. Place the washer on the protruding mounting bolt and screw on the wing nut, only tight enough so that the washer slightly depresses the foam. No need to clamp it any more than that and risk tearing the element. With the foam air filter serviced and mounted on the cage, let's now inspect and clean the airbox before inserting our clean filter. First, check the airbox drain plug. If any water or oil entered the airbox, this is where it will collect for you to drain. Inspect the tube and fitting for any damage and clean if necessary. Make sure it is sealed and securely fastened. We don't want water or dirt to get sucked in through a crack or loose-fitting drain tube. Clean the airbox cavity and surrounding edges and remove and clean the metal mesh filter in the back of the box if needed. With the airbox cleaned and drain tube inspected, it's time to put everything back together. Insert the nicely oiled foam element back into the airbox. Its shape will guide you to its correct orientation. Next, install the airbox cover by first inserting the tongue on the cover's left edge into the mount on the airbox below the seat, toward the rear fender. Pull the rubber strap tab down with your right hand, and with your left hand, reach under the airbox and hook the D-ring on the mount it came off from. This should now have your airbox firmly assembled and sealed. Now retrieve the side panel off the bench and give it a cleaning too. Line it up, tucking its top edge under the seat, and when in place, push the rear tab into the back grommet. Do the same with the front tab and grommet. Lightly push on the quick fastener and simultaneously turn the D-ring a quarter turn clockwise to lock it. One last note before we wrap up this service. The engine should never be run without the mesh and foam filter installed. This will create an overly lean running condition and risk debris ingestion. Both could lead to internal engine wear or damage. Congratulations! You successfully completed an air filter cleaning and service on your TT-R125. Great work. Note that a Yamaha Technical Academy Gold Tech always cleans their tools and puts them back in order after every job, and so should you. And one last important step. Always remember to dispose of the cleaning and oiling chemicals in an appropriate, environmentally safe manner. Thanks for watching, and make sure to check out the Yamaha YouTube channel for more do-it-yourself videos and technical tips. Now, let's get out and ride.